Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pillar to Post. I am your host, Pete Wall, and today is April 26th, 2007, and tonight was NXT. So welcome to my NXT results review and reaction show. And today I'm going to do things a little bit different. I'm not going to cut through the intro or nothing, no music going. Today it's just going to be straight into it. I'm going to tell you right now, today was a great NXT. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about it, especially the last match. And at first I was a little bit concerned the way that the main event was going, that it wouldn't go over with the fans because it was more of a traditional technical style match and slow. But the fans were behind it, not so much at the beginning, but, you know, come mid-match, it really picked up with the fans. They enjoyed it. It showed that you can go traditional and fans will still enjoy themselves. But tonight, the way the whole NXT show... Oh, why the hell? I apologize. There is a train running through my backyard. Every time I start a results show for WWE, a train goes through my backyard. It's like it's just second nature already. But we start off the show with a nice little brawl between Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott. And I'm going to say brawl because these women did not throw on a cat fight. And I like that. This was a straight up brawl between two women that look like they have no love for one another. They put on an excellent show. They beat the hell out of each other. And usually when you see two women going at it, they're pulling hair, they're, you know, screaming at the top of their lungs, and it's like a screech instead of a scream. These women were putting it to each other the way usually two men would. You know, and it looked good. It built up this rivalry that they've been building up towards with these women. Ruby Riott, since she's come in, she seems like she's caught the eye of Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross, you know, just has no love for Ruby Riott. And today they clashed big time. And at the top of the show was not the first time of the night. But officials seem to be able to break this up at the top of the show. They got the women separated finally, and the show was able to continue. Up next, we got a little flashback with about Hideo Itami basically confronting Bobby Roode last week, slapping him and then laying the GTS upon him. Just a reminder, you know, that Hideo Itami is back, and he's looking for a shot at the NXT title. Now, Bobby Roode reiterated that this is his NXT now, and he's fine with Itami getting a shot, but he's got to earn that shot before he gets it. And I agree. Itami's been gone for, I think I heard like 8 months or something. I can't quite remember, but it sounds about right. You come back from that long of a go, and you need to come back up the ladder. You know, you need to climb back up to where you were. And I know a lot of people probably disagree with me because Itami is very famous. He's very skilled. But in my eyes, he should at least take on the top three contenders for that NXT title, win, and then finally get a shot. But we got a match between Drew McIntyre and Andrade Cien Almas up next. Great match. I love what Drew McIntyre's doing now. Beautiful. He's showing more emotion. He's showing more intensity. We didn't see that from his first run with the WWE because he was delivered a shit character. They basically put him way over top, and then they just stripped him right back down to nothing. Had him in three-man band, which sucked balls. I could see he was defeated. Self-defeated because he was treated so poorly the first go-round. This time, though, I want to see them try and strip that Drew McIntyre away. Because that Drew McIntyre actually has a fire within him. A fire that the fans connect with. And throughout the match, you heard, they were behind Drew McIntyre. They loved the new Drew McIntyre. The only thing I wish they would have done, let him keep the Drew Galloway name. Would have been better. The match was back and forth. Almas getting his shots in. Drew McIntyre getting his shots in. Seeing Almas showed off a little bit too much tonight. And he paid for it every single time. And Drew McIntyre made sure that in the end it was going to be the Claymore that earned him the pinfall. Another great match. I loved it. I want to see more from both these guys because the first time I seen Andrade, seeing Almas, he looked like he should be at a male strip joint. He still kind of has that look, but it's not as bad. He's gone with the suspenders. He's giving more intense matches. I like that. And when he smacked, when he gave that knife edge chop to Drew McIntyre tonight, you could hear it just, oh man, felt like, you know, you could feel almost ripping apart your skin on your chest. And he had a habit of slapping Drew McIntyre tonight. And you could see that last slap he delivered in the corner, that it just really woke Drew McIntyre up. And after that, the match was over for Cien Almas. Like I said, Drew McIntyre delivered the Claymore. The match was done. Now, General Manager William Regal made an announcement right afterwards that Ruby Riott would be facing Nikki Cross later in the show tonight. I liked it. I figured, good, this will really, you know, build up. And I suspected that they were going to continue that brawl, but I figured it'd start in the ring, break out, it'd be a double count out, and that did not happen. But we'll get to that. So we got a segment, and it was called Who is Roderick Strong? Part 1. At first I figured another bullshit video trying to amp up this character that hasn't really gotten over with the fans. I know who Roderick Strong is. I love the way he wrestles. I love his mat skills, everything. He was great in Ring of Honor. I wasn't expecting this kind of video, and it kind of hit close to home with me because I grew up living like that. Not knowing when your parents were going to be coming home, not knowing if they were going to, you know, have that last fight that was going to explode into something really bad. The drinking, the drugs, everything like that. That was prominent in my upbringing. And the violence towards the children as well. It was there. It was very prominent and very scary. And I grew up that way. I grew up hard. When I say I grew up hard, that means I grew up having to fight and scratch and claw my way up through everything I did. Now, I end up getting in trouble with the law a lot because my attitude was at that point where don't look at me and smile because I will hurt you and I'll make you feel the way I feel. And it's good to see someone, especially a wrestler like this, talk about the issues that he's had growing up. He got where he wanted to go. I was just starting that path for myself. Just starting, and I already had it lined up. My wrestling training was going to begin, and I got taken out by a drunk driver. Now, this was after being in jail a couple of times, and yada, yada, yada. Suicide attempts, you know, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, you name it, I did it. But I was on that road to bettering myself, and my chances got stopped because of a guy that didn't know how to keep his ass out of his truck when he was drinking. I love seeing that he made it through to the bad times and made it to the good times. Love that video. I can't wait for part 2. Aleister Black versus Kona Reeves. Wonderful match. Kona Reeves decided he was going to start the match off quickly. He was going to go on the offensive and take out Aleister Black right at the top of the match. Did not go his way. Now, we got a little bit of a longer match than we did last week with NXT, where it was just Black Mass and match was done. This week, Aleister Black had to go a little bit on the defensive at first, but then it was all offensive, and he owned the ring like he always does. This guy is here in NXT, and I want to see and I want to watch him go up the ladder and capture that gold, because this guy, he's got the fans' attention. He's got my attention, that's for fucking sure. Even my daughter, she was giggling when she picked him up with, picked Kona Reeves up with his foot and then delivered the Black Mass. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I love the whole gimmick. I love the look. This guy... I had a friend say, oh, they're going to make him the next Undertaker. No. There's nobody that can do that. It takes the right person. It takes the right time. It takes the right circumstance to make something great like The Undertaker, like The Rock, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. It is a moment, and a fleeting moment. And if you don't capture that moment, it's gone. And you're never going to recreate it. So, Undertaker... remaking Undertaker, never going to happen again. Never. No one will ever respect someone that tries to rip off the Undertaker gimmick. Aleister Black has his own thing going. I love when he rolls into the ring, he's meditating, and he did it a couple of times in the ring today. He delivered a roundhouse kick, knocked Kona Reeves, I thought knocked him right out. Dropped down, went into his meditation pose, and he sat there and waited until Kona Reeves started reviving, started getting back up. He got up to his feet and then picked him up with his foot and delivered Black Mass. End of the match. It was beautiful. I cannot wait to see what else Aleister Black brings to the NXT ring. Beautiful match. So, up next is a Ruby Riott interview with Chelsea St. Cloud. She said Sanity has a philosophy she'd normally get behind, but Nikki Cross tried to push her around, and when that happens, she pushes back. She's going to beat her tonight on her way to a women's title shot. Tonight, she starts a riot. Kayla, afterwards, tries to catch up with Almas to ask him about his loss as he leaves with two young ladies. He ignores her, but when they reach the SUV he's leaving in, he asks her if is she coming along. So they're building up this whole thing that seeing Almas is basically more focused on his nightlife, his extracurriculars, rather than his in-ring work and actually gaining some W's to his repertoire. That is basically what they're working on. I hope that doesn't go too far, because I see that being something that kind of kills his momentum. He looked good tonight. I'm not shitting you. He looked good tonight in this match against McIntyre. A little bit more, and we can see this guy really break out a little bit more of a serious attitude. A little bit more physical in the ring. Not so much of a showy person, but more of an aggressive animal, a little bit more of an animal instinct in him. Seeing Almas would be a great champion in NXT, and I see him as that in the future, but not right now. And up next, we get the Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross match, but it never gets anywhere. As Ruby Riott's making her way down the ring, Nikki Cross attacks Ruby Riott. And it was an attack from behind. Now, what followed was an even more vicious brawl than earlier on in the evening. We got some suplexes on the steel ramp. We seen Ruby Riott do a flying crossbody off the stage, took out Nikki Cross as well as some officials, and in the end, We seen Nikki Cross being carried away by her arms and her legs by officials to get her out of the arena or out of the from ringside, away from there, and end the brawl once and for all. And like I said, this was not a typical women's fight where you'd, be calling out cat fight. This was a legit brawl. It looked fantastic. These women do a great job with one another. I cannot wait to see more of this feud build up. And I see this going for a while. I like it. I enjoy it. Can't wait to have more. So we're back in Regal's office, where he's telling Asuka that since Riot and Cross couldn't contain themselves, next week they will have a battle royal to determine the next #1 contender for the championship. Asuka, she got a big ego, and she basically showed that she wasn't impressed. She didn't care. She walked off, and that was that. Now, the match of the night, in my opinion, because a lot of people do not go for this kind of match. It was slow. It was methodical. It was technical. You didn't see any high flying in this match. You didn't see any big power moves. These were two smaller guys showing what you could do inside the ring with just technical work. It was Tyler Bate, the UK champion, versus Jack Gallagher. Now, Tyler Bate won the United Kingdom tournament to become the UK champion. I have not seen the UK tournament, but at first I was looking, it was like, this guy needs a personality. He really does. And even through most of the match, it was hard to really get behind Tyler Bate, because he was going move for move with Jack Gallagher, but there was no emotion on his face. There's no intensity there. There's no fire in his eyes. There wasn't that thing that you see in a wrestler that drives them. You didn't see any of that. It was at the end where you've seen all of that. I think he needs a little bit more work with showing himself as a wrestler, and his wrestling is sound. You cannot take away what this guy does in the ring, but his personality needs work. He needs a little bit more amped up of himself, Like I said, back and forth match, very, very technical. We've seen 2 headbutts from Jack Gallagher that almost knocked both of these men out. At one point, the second headbutt, Jack Gallagher just dropped himself on his back on top of Tyler Bate, got a 2 count before Tyler Bate kicked out. And it all ended very suddenly. Jack Gallagher was going for another submission move, and that's when you seen finally the fire in Tyler Bate, and he screamed up once, he reversed everything around, and hit the Tiger Driver 97 for the win. And you still have Tyler Bate as your United Kingdom champion. It was, like I said, a very good night in NXT tonight. I'm very happy I decided to start watching NXT. It is a great show. I just wish it was 2 hours. It was live. And I would like to see SmackDown or Raw compete with the show done the way NXT is done. Yes, it doesn't have all the extras that Raw and SmackDown do, but that's what makes it great, because it concentrates on the wrestling. It doesn't concentrate on all these stupid advertisements and promos and the crap that comes with, SmackDown and Raw, especially Raw. So I'm tuning in again next week. I loved it. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed the upload, please hit that like, hit that subscribe if you haven't yet, and continue to follow Pillar to Post, because we cover SmackDown, Raw. I should have started with Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, as well as all the news, rumors that we can find on the web. And we bring that to you every day of the week. Also, new series began. It is called the Polara Project. If you are a gearhead, if you enjoy classic cars, if you love building a vehicle up from the ground up, we're not exactly doing from the ground up, but we are doing a lot of work on this car. And if you want to check it out, that is in the playlist, and you will, I'm hopefully enjoy the series, because today was the first upload. It was basically a walkthrough what we've done with the car already and what's going to happen, and we're going to continue it. So continue to follow me. Like I said, subscribe, like, and I will be back tomorrow with some WWE news, rumors, and whatever the hell else they got on the web for WWE. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.